Hey guys, it's Carl Brown from GuitarLessons365.com. Got a great song from Five Finger Death Punch today. We learned how to do Wrong Side of Heaven. I'm gonna go ahead and say that this guitar is not gonna sound completely in tune throughout this lesson. This is a crazy tuning. This is my D-tune guitar. All right, so I've had this set up with a little bit thicker strings than I usually. I think it's like a 10 through 52 on here. And then anything E-flat standard or lower I use for this, for these YouTube lessons. This song is in B standard, so every single string is tuned down a fourth. I'll go through those notes in a second if you know what it is. So that means a few things for this guitar. One, it's very difficult to play because the strings are so flappy. So there's that. You'll see that during the solo especially. But also, it messes up the intonation of the guitar, and so this guitar is not really set up for this tuning. So you're going to hear maybe a little bit of warbly here, out of tune notes here or there. They're in tune down here, but up here the neck, they're not going to be perfectly in tune. So you're going to have to deal with that. I'm not going to do a whole setup for this song. I just basically tuned it down to it, and we're just going to have to deal with it. So anyway, fair warning right there. Now, before I do get into the whole song, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell so you know when I do a video. You can like and comment the lessons, it really helps. If you really like what I do here on YouTube and you want to get even more from me and join a really great community, please join my Guitar Academy. That's actually what keeps me going here on YouTube as well because, yeah, not a lot of money putting up free lessons on YouTube. So, my Guitar Academy, you'll see that in the description below. Free 7-day trial by clicking that link. You have full access to all of my courses across all major app platforms. And I go live every weekend just with Academy members, like a live stream. It's a great hangout. You can ask me questions every week while going through all of my courses. There's courses for complete beginners to more advanced courses on technique, improvisation, ear training, theory, guitar tone, a lot of cool stuff. So please come join us. Click that link. All right. So this tuning, B standard, that means every string is tuned down a fourth. So that means the low E string is tuned down to a B. Woo. The A string is tuned down to an E. The D string is tuned down to an A. G string tuned down to a D. B string tuned down to an F sharp. And that high E string is tuned down to a B. All right, so get in that tuning, and then we are ready to rock. So I'm going to start here with this this main riff, which is also it's the intro of the song, and then there's a little solo over it, which we'll cover, and then this little riff that we're doing here, this arpeggiated chord progression, is also the verse of the song. So I'm knocking a lot out right here. So we go. So it's driving me crazy. This thing's slightly out of tune, but let's just deal with it. Anyway, so let's start here with this. It's an A minor. Now, by the way, I'm going to call everything out like it's a standard tuned guitar. All right, so let's not even mess with this whole business of transposing everything down a fourth. So this is an A minor triad normally on a standard tuned guitar. So that's what we're going to call it. And we're still calling it E through A through E strings. See, I'm just going to call the string names out like a standard tune as well, just to make it easier for us. So we're going to start with this form here. So I'll talk about the picking in a second. Let's just go through the chords he's playing. So this is the 9th fret on the G, 10th on the B, and 8th on the high E. From there, you're going to go to an E minor chord, which is going to be the 9th fret on the G, 8th on the B, 7th on the high E. And now this next chord, you can do it like a bar. I believe he plays it like this, but you can play it like this, which would make it kind of very easy transition to the next chord, which is a bar. So this is just barring across the 7th fret from the high E to the G, and then you're going to have the 8th fret in front of it there on the B string. So this makes up a G major chord. All right. And then when you just pick up that middle finger, you just have a bar across the 7th fret, across the top 3 strings, and that is a B minor chord. So A minor to E minor to G major, to B minor. So now let's talk about the picking. So we're going to start with the G string, and then it's straight picking from the high E to the B to the G. Repeat it. So you basically I picked the G string first, and then from the high E across to the G 5 times. And then you're going to start the next picking pattern. So you go to the next chord, and once again, you're going to start with the G string. So it's going to mean that the last note of the previous pattern, or the previous chord, was that note on the G string, and then the same here. So it's doubled there. That last note, and then it'll be the first note again on the next pattern. All right, so once again, that was the same pattern starting on the G. And then once you get to the high E, you're going to descend from the high E to the G string 5 times. Then you go to the G major chord, and then once again, starting with the G string. And then the B minor. So you're just going to lift up that finger. And once again, so it's going to be, this note's going to be played the last note of the previous pattern and the first note of the next pattern. So it's a double note. So all together, slowly. And then it just starts over with the same chords. So that is what's going on in the intro and the verse. Now, over the intro, you can hear this little solo that comes in. It sounds like this. All right, so a really nice little solo that so it's basically the exact same thing repeated twice. And then you're going to hear this again later in the song repeated the same way. I think it just does it once later on though, but it's that same little melody. So what's going on here is we're going to have this. So you're going to pick the 7th fret there on the D string twice. Then hammer on the 9th fret. Then you go to the 7th fret on the G, slide up to 9. Then you're going to come up here to the 12th fret on the B string, and then go. So that's going to go 12, 13, 15, 13, 12, shift back to 10, slide down to 8, pick 8 and slide back to 10. Then go 12, 13, 12, 13, 12, 10. And then you're going to come back here and hammer on 8 to 10. And then come back to the 7th fret on the G and slide into that 9th. So all together. Repeat. All right, so then the vocals come in, and it's that same little intro thing. That same little out of tune. It's driving me nuts. Anyway, let's get to some chords that will sound a little bit less out of tune. So coming out of that verse, we get to the chorus. So you're going to hear him grab this. I'm going to call it a D power chord. Obviously, I know it's an A, but. All right, so you hear it coming out of that picking pattern, and you're just going to kind of cut it off at the very end and grab this D power chord that takes us into the chorus. And that was like this. All right, so starting with that D chord, kind of have some muted hits on the low E string. Then it goes to the E power chord, obviously it's a B, and then you're gonna go up to the F. So that's kind of rotating. You can hear him go up and grab this power chord over. I know you can see him live, just kind of hanging out down here, but on the recording you can hear him kind of literally clean it up and come up. Kind of come up and grab that higher voicing while still keeping that low string ringing as well. Then there's muted hits on the B string again, or okay, I'll call it the B string. And then that D power chord, which is the 5th fret of the A, 3, and then come and grab just the 5th fret by itself without the chord there at the end. So this. And then muted hits again on the low string. Kind of repeat. Different ending. That's got this, using these these fourths here, which is at the 2nd fret on the A and the D. And then the 4th fret across the A and the D. And the 5th fret across the A and the D. So we kind of have this. Now repeat all that. Then you're going to do it again with the 2nd ending. So that same ending is done 2 times in a row at the very end. Then you're going to just come up here and just kind of end it there at the 7th fret or on the A string there for that first chorus. And then you're going to hear that, by the way, there is a overdub over this chorus. You can hear it really, really low in the mix. I don't see them doing it live either. It's really hard to pick up. I've even tried isolating it and see if I can pick it up, because it's pretty much almost impossible to hear with the big guitars. It's so low under the vocals and all that stuff. So to get it note for note right, it's not really possible with the original recording. So I used isolation software. Even the isolation software just could not get it separated enough to where I can actually hear what's going on. So we're going to skip it. But they don't do it live anyway that I can see. So they just kind of play the big power chords like I just did right there. All right, so coming out of that chorus, we go into the verse, and there's that same solo happens again. Same exact solo, I believe just done once. That's that same solo phrase that we did that was repeated twice earlier. It's just done once, but it's the same thing, nothing new to learn there. And we're basically now to, from there it goes into the verse again. And then I believe the chorus, and then out of the chorus, we go to the chord progression that comes in, the guitar solo comes in, and then, so you hear this chord progression, this riff basically happen twice. The first time you hear it, it's the solos over it. And then the second time, when it repeats, it's the bridge. So anyway, so it's basically this section done twice. So it sounds like this. right, so it's got that quick little riff at the very end there. So it's just power chords at first. So here's the 5th fret power chord off the low E string. Then 7, 8, and then do that again. So it goes. So that's right when the solo comes in. So you do that twice there off the low E string, and then 5, 7, 8 power chord off the A string. And then we're going to go to the low E open power chord. And then the 3rd fret power chord off the low E string. So we have this. Then you hear this quick little. Once again, if you have floppy strings, it's hard to do. So it's basically heavily palm muted, 5, 3, 2, 0 on the A string. So and then you just jump right back to repeat it. And then it just kind of stops right there without that part of the guitar solo there coming in, or it's kind of fading out over it. All right, so that's kind of the solo bridge rhythm, and then we have the solo itself. So let me play through the solo for you real quick, and then I'll show you how to play it note for note. All right, so that one is got some crazy stuff in it and almost impossible to play on these strings. So bear with me there. So let's go through it though. Not one of those things you're gonna get completely, we can get pretty close to note for note and kind of see what he was doing here. But like I said, some of the sections are just so fast that, and especially towards the end of the solo, it gets really kind of buried in the mix. So kind of have to make do with that as well. So that's why when I got really buried in the mix, I kind of went back to the rhythm guitar part and then just jumped in where you can hear when they kind of bring it back out again. So, all right, so let's start here with this little, let me turn off this delay. So we're gonna just start with this little, you start hearing it coming in before the actual real solo section starts. You start hearing this kind of trill coming in there. And that's just a trill between the 12th and 13th fret on the high E string. And after he does that for a few beats, he's gonna then start making it like a tapping pattern. So we're gonna just tap the 17, pull off the, tap in 17, pull off the 13, tap again, pull off the 13, pull off the 12, and back to 13. So this. So you're gonna start with that drill. And then you do it a few beats when you're doing that little tapping set part of it. And then he goes into this really fast lick, which I don't think is the whole thing is really picked. And this is what's very difficult about this lick is because I'm sure their guitars are set up fine for this, but mine isn't. So when you're playing this stuff, it's when the strings feel like rubber bands, it's kind of really difficult to get that kind of speed and really alternate pitch everything. So what's going on here? There's a pattern at first. So we're gonna start here with that little lick, which is gonna be 15, 13, 12 on the high E string, over to 15 on the B. And then we're gonna go back to the 13th fret on the high E string, go 13, 12, and then 15, 13, 12 on the B. So, and then So that kind of pattern is an outlier a little bit. But because then he starts a pattern that he starts moving up with and he repeats it, which is basically just 6 notes straight down. So we're going to go back to the same notes again, but we're going to play 15, 13, 12 on the high E, and then 15, 13, 12 on the B. So we have that. So all together, and then the straight pattern. So you guys can try to pick the whole thing, or kind of look at it. A lot of guys will do like they'll pick the top string, pull off it, pick the notes on the B. There's a lot of ways that lick is played, or you can just straight alternate pick it. So we have that little, that kind of started that little outlier, and then the straight 6 notes ascending pattern. Then we're going to continue that pattern again, but higher up in the scale. So we're going to go now 17, 15, 13 on both the high E and the B. So. Then move up here to the 19th fret. So we're going to go 19, 17, 15. And on the B string, you're going to go 18, 17, 15. So. So we had that little outlier pattern to start it. And then you start the run up. From here, it kind of slides into the 20th fret. Goes into 20, back to 19, and then pull off 20, 19. Got that thing? And then it goes into some fifths. So you slide into the 22nd fret, and then go over and pick the 20th fret on the B string. So, and then slide into the 24th fret, and then pick 22 on the B string, 24 on the high E again, back to the 22 on the B. So, and then into a half step bend at the 24th fret. Release it, pull off to 22, and then play 24 again. So we have this. From here, so the whole solo, I mean, coming up from the picking parts at least. All right, next phrase. So where this is played, this can be played up here as well too. I can't find any videos of Jason Hook playing this solo live. The ones that I've seen have mostly been Andy James playing it, and he does his own thing with it. He does something very similar to what Jason Hook does, but he's kind of made it his own as well too. He adds a lot more things to it. It's really cool too, what he does with it. But I don't know if Jason Hook played it note for note, what he did on the album, when he did it live. I don't know, I can't see a video of it. So anyway, you can play some of these melodic parts at least on different frets, obviously. But here it seems to make more sense to be played here. So we have this. So that's gonna be. So that's gonna 17 on the B string, over to 17 on the high E, then back to 17 on the B, up to 20th fret on the high E string, then you're gonna bend the 19th fret up at that half step. So it's kind of bend and you pick and then go below it a fret and bend to that same note you were just at. Now, as you're doing that bend, you're gonna play the 21st fret there with the string still bent. What was that sound? So you do that half step bend, pick that note, play that note, so basically make the pinky lay down on the same string, 2 frets higher, and then release the pinky, pick the note again, and then finally release that bend that's at the 19th fret. So with this. So it's really cool once you get the lick together. So you're playing a note on the same string of a bent note. So it's kind of cool. So then from there, we're going to go 17 to 19 on the high E string, over to 20 on the B, and then back to 17 on the high E. So the vocals come back in here, and then there's a little guitar lick, which is kind of sliding up to 17 again, roll over to 7 on the B string, then roll over to 17 on the high E, over to 20 on the B, and then back to that 17 on the high E. And here's where I go to the rhythm guitar part. So I pick up that where we were at those chords that we've already covered in this is basically the bridge section now, is what's going on here. So we have the vocals, when they come back in, they're just the bridge, using the same the chords from the solo. So I play that up to the 8th fret, and then I go out and in, we can hear the solo come back in the mix. So that's a slide. Basically what I'm doing, I'm just sliding to the 24th fret there on the high E string. And then it's the 22nd fret there on the high E, to 20 on the B, back to 22. Then over to the 22nd fret on the B string, play that twice. And then you're gonna play 20th fret on the high E string, and then 19 behind it, and once again, bend up to the note you just were at, and then release. And that's the end of the solo there. So anyway, so out of that solo, we go back into the verse section again. So it's the verse, those same verse chords, but it's played without really, there's maybe some minor kind of vocals going on. But what's really going on over that, and there's some melodies that you're hearing being played, what I think are, it's a few guitars playing ebows. I don't know, maybe they have like a sustainer pickup or whatever, but it sounds like that ebo sound. I'm not really covering those, but it's kind of variation on the verse is all it is. And then we get to the chorus again, which is the same chorus as before. And like I said, there's that little ending section at the very end of the song where there's like those whole, I believe it's kind of something similar that's going on during the chorus, but that's more buried in the chorus. But it happens very briefly at the end of the song, and it's got some effects on it as well too. It's multiple guitars doing it. I'm not covering that as well just because of the whole effecty stuff, and this is kind of more like the version they don't do it live either, so they just like bail on it right there. But so I just play the big chorus and then it's done. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's a really great song. So, and it's got just a killer solo by Jason Hook in it. So hope you guys enjoyed it. All right, I'll see you again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.